forget. Yeah. Yeah, today's just a great day. Woke up, put a shirt on, and that's all I did so far, yeah. Who cares? We can stay on for a couple hours. I just need to check some real quick before I forget. Allow the kids to go to sleep. We're staying on this one.
You're going to be inside. I'm sorry. It's an unfortunate truth this morning. We are just going to be seeing this large mass of rain coming over. Actually, let me zoom out here so we can actually get a picture of it. Here we go.
Damn!
From Illinois into Michiana later this morning and into the afternoon. Fortunately, it does look like it might be impacting recess. So I'd go ahead and call that inside recess right now. So let's go ahead now, time it out hour by hour here in Future Track. So I've got this started here at 6 a.m. as we can just see just some of those light showers moving into Michiana right now. And then again, right around 9 a.m., still dealing with those showers, taking a little bit of a break and then coming back for the commute, coming back home from school today. So it's just something that we are keeping an eye on. Also, get this, overnight hours, we're going to be dealing with some thunderstorm activity coming over Michiana. But again, the good news is no severe weather is expected. Just looking like a loud night ahead. So for that commute, though, to the bus stop this morning, 67 degrees. Again, make sure you bring that umbrella and that raincoat. And unfortunately, that raincoat probably not going to be the most comfortable thing just because it's so humid out. Going to hold into a little bit of moisture as well. And only warming up to around 77 degrees by the time everybody comes home from school today.
All right, Jack, thank you. New information, the July South Bend Crime Stats meeting showed a fall in violent crimes since June. Some of the takeaways here: aggravated assault and rape were down since June.
That's good, but I don't care. I'll something. All I care about is the weather. That's the thing I actually care about was the weather. Anything else I really don't care about. I live in Niles anymore, so I don't have to worry about the news anymore. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be on here all day, so I need to have some. I'm a person that likes to watch. You like to watch, you know what? Yeah, I like to watch that. I still watch it. I look at May 6th stuff, but that's about like looking for nothing else. It's just too dang early. Yeah, I'm gonna be for a little bit, so yeah. Let's check the E. Let's go morning. Check the countdown.
And welcome to the Oddity Archive, the show that
Okay.
will bring out your inner Luddite, guaranteed or your money back. This is going to be a hard show. A really hard show. Based on a viewer's suggestion, the initial idea was going to be to look into a freak weather occurrence that briefly got British TV onto American shores. And I don't mean imported programming, I mean the actual British signal made it all the way to New York, briefly, in late 1938. Which led to questions like, they had TV already in 1938? That led to a bunch of other discoveries, and finally to the realization that we talk a lot about TV around here, but not necessarily.
Go.
And so today we discuss television prehistory, or prehistoric television, to be cute. Now, I have no scientific background or skill, which makes it a lot harder for me to discuss this. And if that's not enough, when we're not dealing with the science, we're dealing with the Nazis. You heard me. Stick with me, gang. Remember, this entire episode is going to consist of our all-time most difficult history lesson. In the 1840s, Scottish inventor Alexander Bain came up with a distant forerunner to the fax machine, in this case allowing images to be transmitted telegraphically, pulse-based. It was a piece of crap, but significant nonetheless. In the 1880s, German inventor Paul Nipkow came up with a disk-based system that would be hooked up telegraphically as well.
So we're just gonna be on here for a little bit, see what everyone's doing, that sort of thing. I'm just gonna be on here for a little bit, killing some time, see how I was doing. That's all I'm really doing right now. I'm just gonna be on here for a little bit, killing some time.
The most liberal U.S. Senator, Kamala Harris, was the liberal San Francisco prosecutor.
This guy.
Welcome to Slap on Location Part 2, where we take a look at the site of the NASCAR Cup Series last race on dirt, the North Carolina State Fairgrounds in Raleigh, North Carolina.
So yeah, just killing some time right now, having some fun this morning. I actually don't know why I did decide to do this for, just for mostly for S's and giggles, but I decided to do this for mostly fun. So yeah, that's what we're doing this for. 7 minutes already, well, I can't believe it, but yeah. So I'm gonna be on for a while. It's 6 a.m. I usually around 6 in the morning, so yeah. So we'll stay there for a couple hours. I'm gonna have some breakfast in a little bit, so yeah, breakfast in a bit.
Welcome to Slap on Location, Episode 2, here at the North Carolina State Fairgrounds, the home of NASCAR Cup Series last race on dirt, right over there, where those grandstands are. Those are the original grandstands, still up to date. They do tractor pulls, figure 8 races, demolition derby, occasionally outdoor concerts and stuff. And the last race over here in 1970 was kind of just unceremonious. There wasn't any grand plan, no pomp and circumstance behind it. The schedule for 1971 had not yet come out, and it was just kind of just so happened this was the last race. There wasn't any plan for it or anything like that.
Wow, that's pretty.
Victory Lane, Richard Petty won the very last race, and he said he hoped to keep a few dirt races around, but he kind of read the writing on the wall. Fewer dirt races as years went on, and he really loved dirt racing. He thought that a driver could get a lot more out of the car, whereas on asphalt it's more about the car and how that's set up and all the handling and everything. But on dirt track, you can really hustle it, especially in this old racetrack, which is an old horse racing circuit built back in, I believe, the 1920s. He said there were a lot of potholes out here. It was rough. You kind of had to know the track, had to know the surface. And you could really hustle a car around here. It wasn't a whole lot of banking. It was a half-mile track going right through here to turn 1. And this whole pavilion right here where all these rides and attractions and concessions are at in this big circular area, that was the racetrack. The track was built as a half-mile short track, but by all accounts, it was very, very generous to call it a half-mile track. Maybe if you went all the way around the outside line of the track, it would measure half a mile. But it was a tough little short track, not a whole lot of banking. They only came here 3 times in NASCAR Cup Series history. Once in 1955, and then they took a long hiatus, came back in 1969, and then had the last race here in 1970. Junior Johnson won the first race, that was rain shortened in 1955. David Pearson won in 1969, and then in 1970, of course, Richard Petty won the very last race. A couple of fun facts. The 1969 race, David Pearson won that race, and him and Richard Petty finished 1-2 63 times in their career, which is the most of any driver getting 1-2 finishes. And that 1969 race happened to be one of those races right here. In 1970, Richard Petty won this race, driving the car that he had sold to somebody, and then they used it for local dirt track racing, and then he went and bought it back, upgraded everything, raced it here, and then sold it back to the guy. Actually, didn't sell it back to the guy, just gave it back to him. A lot of people say that he rented the car. He really just took it, upgraded everything, and then just gave it back to the guy. So if you had bought that car from him back in the mid or late 60s, and then again, drive it in this race, it was actually really good for you because he's going to make that thing just about unbeatable. Of course, it would be unbeatable if you were as good as Richard Petty driving it around. In 1970, there were only 3 dirt tracks left on the schedule.
Hello. Yeah, I'm still here, guys. Just relaxing, watching this up this morning. The cat's sleeping, so I don't wake the cats up. So that's why we're doing this in like dark mode for. We'll be like this for a couple hours, but yeah, we'll be like this for like an hour. But yeah, I'm just out here this morning, killing some time. Gonna do a long stream today, so yeah, that's what we're doing this morning. We're just killing some time. Just woke up, so yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. Just killing some time. So I'm still here, guys. Just that. So yeah.
And of course, it was originally a horse racing circuit. And fun fact, in that last race in 1970, Richard Petty started a few rows back, and at the start of the race, or early on in the race rather, somebody just gunned it straight into turn 1 over here. There used to be a bunch of horse stables over here in turn 1 for all the horse races and everything. And the guy just gunned it, jumped over the barrier, went into the horse stable, and had to go pull the car out with a tractor out from the stable. Thankfully, there were no horses in there. Nobody got hurt. The guy was fine. But that must have been a pretty wild sight to see for the last race. This racetrack held anywhere between 10,000 people to 6,000. Everything around here is kind of it's just sunk into a bowl. So you had the grandstands right here and the seats and everything. And then you just had hills where people would just set out blankets and just have a picnic and watch the race. So attendance figures were a little bit hard to estimate. As far as I know, the race was never held during the actual state fair, which always happens in October. They raced here, I believe, in May, and the very last race here was on a Wednesday afternoon in September, just before the state fair.
Mike Rogers, I don't care about him. So yeah, guys, we're just on here, kill a time, that sort of thing. I just thought come out here this morning, this early morning, do a long stream, and that's about it. I gotta pop that later, but yeah.
Maya knows how quality care can bring out a smile. Luckily, Aspen Dental offers affordable, complete care all in one place with 20% off treatment plans.
Let's just change it to not a long stream, it's an AM stream. Okay.
Aspen Dental is in your corner.
Just behind the Speedway is Wolfpack Stadium for NC State and their football program, and right next to that is PNC Arena, which is the home of the Carolina Hurricanes NHL team. Had they kept up the Speedway and just kept racing here and maybe changed everything, modernized it a little bit, kept it on schedule, this would have been probably the craziest sports complex in America, if not the world. You'd have a NASCAR race here. You'd have NC State playing. You'd have an NHL team here. And when the Carolina Panthers were formed in 1995, or really just before that, there was some discussion about whether or not the team should be located in Raleigh or be located in Charlotte. And eventually, they, of course, settled on Charlotte and built Bank of America Stadium over there. But had it been built in Raleigh and they built Carolina Panthers football stadium here, this really would have been just crazy, just absolute madhouse. And really just a sketch and a nightmare had they done that. The North Carolina State Fair takes place over the course of 11 days every October, and the turnstile attendance the last few years has been averaging around 1 million people, which is just crazy to think about. When we got here, we got stuck on traffic for an hour before we even got anywhere near parking. We finally parked it, and then we walked all the way out here and sat in line for another hour trying to get tickets into the place. And so
Tomorrow.
I'm sure a lot of people would say, well, it wasn't my man on the schedule because there's no way for that many people to show up for a NASCAR race. Well, there's easily 100,000 people all over the grounds here tonight. And they definitely could have hosted a NASCAR race had the track still been here. There's no question on mine. If they can handle 1 million people coming in here across 11 days and at least 100,000 people per day, then easily they could have had 40,000, 50,000 people show up here for a race once a year, or in the summer or in the fall, whenever they decided to have it. Of course, over here at the fairgrounds, you had the NASCAR track, and another big attraction over here that's still in use today is Dorton Arena right over there. It's about a 7,000 seat capacity or indoor arena. That's where they have all the concerts at. If you won, you go out here, have your ceremony out in front of the track, and then you probably go over there to Dorton Arena and party, be introduced to all the big wigs in NASCAR and all that. And if you're an aspiring musician, a country music musician over here in North Carolina, it's kind of a rite of passage that you have to go play over there at the Dorton Arena during North Carolina State Fair.
So there it is, the North Carolina State Fairgrounds, home of NASCAR's last race on dirt for the Cup Series. If you ever get the chance to go through Raleigh, definitely check this place out. Hopefully the traffic isn't as bad as it was for us. Maybe try the second weekend instead of the first weekend when you come by. But yeah, there's so much food, some crazy stuff, fun rides and everything. So if you get a chance, definitely come out here and check it out. It's definitely well worth the $13 commission to get in the place, in my opinion. And so there it is, the North Carolina State Fairgrounds. There's not too much left of the track, but the facilities still hear the sounds of mechanical thunder a few times per year. If you decide to visit the fair, I suggest you get
Come on, I love Pathfinders.
beat the traffic. Along with concerts, tractor pulls, and figure eight races, there are tons of rides and amazing food to enjoy, and all at a fairly reasonable price to boot. Me and my cameraman had a blast at the fair, and if you live in North Carolina, I think visiting the site of the last
Hey guys, Tyler here. Just relaxing, try to figure out if I'm going to go to the county fair this year. Mostly I'm not going to go to the county fair. Mostly I'm not going to do anything this week. Yeah.
Just one taste and you'll understand. Baskin Robbins.
Too late for it to go.
Hello and welcome to Slap on Location, where today we take a look at the track that has held the most NASCAR races in history, Martinsville Speedway.
Martinsville. Yeah. Last track still, in the old days, still active. Yeah, Tyler, so turn the light off. Yeah.
Hey, I'm Slap Shoes. This is Slap on Location, and that is Martinsville Speedway, the oldest active NASCAR track still on the schedule. Been here since day one for the NASCAR Cup Series, even since before that. The very first NASCAR division that ever took off was in 1948, the modified division. They raced out here in July of that year. Frankie Flock won that race. And this track has been going ever since. It's had at least one NASCAR event on the schedule pretty much every single year, usually in multiple divisions every year since 1948. Every division you can imagine has come through here. Bush North is as far south as they went, modifieds, the convertible series, trucks, Sportsman series, the precursor to the Xfinity series today, and of course the Cup series. There's been hundreds and hundreds of races out here, and it was built in 1947 by a guy by the name of H.C. Earls. He designed the place, this little paperclip configuration, and it was really made that way out of necessity. It's kind of like Darlington has that egg shape due to that one guy who didn't want to sell the minnow pond. Well, there's actually a train track on the back stretch. This little plot of land right here, this is all he had to work with. So that's why it has that pinched down paperclip. You might look at Google Earth and you'll notice the train track isn't that close to the backstretch. So why did they make it so pinched in like that? The train track used to be a lot closer. In 2005, NASCAR actually got Norfolk Southern, who owned that railroad line, to move it and divert it back so that they could hopefully expand this place. There were some talks about expanding it to make it like Bristol, total big Coliseum wraparound stands all the way around. But of course, in 2005, after they did that, NASCAR had hit its peak. After that, attendance and TV ratings continued to go down after that. The track was originally dirt, and it was part of a big boom period for stock car racing in America after World War II. During World War II, the production of all commercial vehicles stopped for the war effort. And if you wanted a 1944 Dodge, I mean, that was a Jeep. That was it. That was all you had to work with. So when they started production of civilian vehicles again in 1946 and 1947, everybody got rid of those old 1941, 42 coupes, those Ford and Chevy coupes that are really popular. They ended up being really popular in the modified division. And the used car market was so messed up back then that sometimes it was cheaper to buy a full functioning 1942 Ford than it was to just sell it for scrap. But because these cars were so absurdly cheap, a lot of guys who had all this extra GI Bill money after World War II, they had all this extra capital, they had these cheap cars, they started souping them up, started racing them, and places like Martinsville got built. Most of those are gone now. Martinsville still persists. Originally, it was a dirt track. They painted in 1955. In 1956, they had their first 500 lap race. And that is a tradition that continues all the way to today. You show up in Martinsville, they're going here for 500 laps. And these races have historically been a real just battle of attrition. There was a race here in 1951. It